there, football fans. It's the Footy Show podcast. Sharman alongside KJ. The weekend, the title was officially decided. Okay, not officially, but let's face it. I think it's done. KJ?
Well, you thought it was done last week.
I did actually.
You were actually ahead of the game here.
Yeah. At 9 points, I was prepared to crown them champions.
We should be giving you a lot of credit.
Yeah, I am obviously incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
And people listen to our podcast for my insight and not yours.
Don't ever undersell yourself. Look, you looked into the Sharman crystal ball and you saw what was happening. And look, I'm with you. I'm jumping on it. I'm a week late, but I'm on the bandwagon. It's done. It's over.
Somewhere Kevin Keegan, though, is saying, I'd love it. I'd just love it.
Love it if we beat them.
Yeah. Somewhere. Yeah. So Southampton beat Man City 3-1, and we're giving the love to Southampton. Great performance. Oh, a nice story under Pochettino. But the story here really is the capitulation by City and how they dug their own grave in that game with two, horrendous mistakes. Let's be honest, from Joe Hart and Gareth Bale. Champions don't do that.
No, they don't. And even if they do, the occasional one fraudulent slip or one poor, error in judgment, they tend not to do two in the same game. And even if they have done it, and I don't know whether any team has ever done two of those major, massive casualty errors like that, I don't think they've played as bad in between them in a game like that. So it was all around just an awful performance, highlighted by the errors. But I think we shouldn't forget that what was going on in between that was pretty pathetic and as performance as well.
It is perhaps maybe a microcosm of what City is and the issues. Comes down to that sub when Nasri came off for Milner. Now, Milner is a far more limited player than Samir Nasri. But you can't start Nasri over Milner, I don't think, in this current team, because Nasri symbolises all that's wrong with that team, the individualism, the lack of, frankly, big balls, as Mancini referred to them post-match, whereas Milner, he's workmanlike, he's industrious, he puts a shift in, and you need those players too.
Well, I agree with you, and I'm going to do what I've done regularly now, and that's hammer the manager, because after a performance like the week before, and particularly in the first half against Liverpool, I don't understand how James Milner could get dropped for the next game for Samir Nasri. And Samir Nasri, I think you mentioned what he's the poster boy for there. I also think he's the poster boy for the lack of talent that the manager has got out of him. And I think it's up to the manager to look at a player like that who is supremely talented and maybe weak-minded, but supremely talented on the field, and get the best out of him, and they've not got even close. He continues to want to play him out wide for whatever reason, and I think that's the wrong position, and he drifts in and out of games far too often, and I just don't understand the team selection from the start, and ultimately it cost him. He blames the players, and he has a right to blame the players, but I think that he is definitely at fault for a lot of this as well.
He was saying only two players played well in that match. He's throwing his team under the bus. To me, it sounds like the final words of a dying man. In many ways here, he's given up. He's now taking his chance to hammer the players, and he knows he's gone next year.
Yeah,
seems that way.
Might well be the case. Look, I think. I've never thought that Mancini's been great there, and his Champions League escapades as well. We should remember his bizarre excuses about it might take him 10 years to get there. He's got an incredible amount of talent on this team. He may well have more talent than anybody else. He certainly has more talent than anybody else in the Premier League. So and he just hasn't got the better out of them. And it's just from when they went 2-0 down and they came back at 2-1, you thought, and I think I tweeted this, that okay, here they come, turning point when they scored. But it was just they got worse after that. And second half, I don't know whether he didn't want to embarrass him, but how he allowed Gareth Bale to play 90 minutes of that game is incredible for me. Absolutely incredible. He's having an absolute nightmare game out there. Can't keep up with the play, highlighted by the horrendous own goal, and you still keep him on the pitch for the full 90 minutes. I just think his in-game management should be seriously questioned, Mancini.
Tevez missed the game for family reasons. It's all about the crash, isn't it? I think around this team, and then we were talking about it 2 weeks ago, saying it's very calm right now at City. Balotelli's now left. There's been no scandal for a few weeks there, picking up points, you knew something was a line beneath
Yeah.
the level there, and it's about to blow up. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous, and he hasn't played well for a long time. So that's the concern. That I think what has he got 7 Premier League goals this season? Absolutely not good enough for me. Whenever you look at a player like that, you think the talent he's got, he should be banging them in at least once every couple of weeks. And what do we have to go back to? December 1st, Everton, when he was the last Premier League goal, and that was a penalty. And before that, his last Premier League goal, that was in November against Villa, another penalty. So he hasn't scored a goal from open play since October. Not good enough.
They'll always have the league title from last season, of course, but if ever there's an example of the gulf between that club and the other club in Manchester, I think it was obvious this weekend. That loss, and then United up against Everton, a really good team who beat them earlier this campaign, put in just a workmanlike business-type performance and beat them 2-0. Never really in doubt, got the job done, 3 points, 12 overall, crown them champs.
Yeah, I think it was as close to a professional performance as you could ever wish for. The thing I noticed about them is how fast out the gate they came, and we all remember what they were earlier this season. The fact that they didn't start games very well, that's gone. That's definitely changed now. They start games well. They're prepared. They were ruthless. It was almost like in their mind before they started that match, they could see the 12-point gap already. Sometimes you want to say, "Oh, it's a bit dangerous." Not with these guys. They've been there and done it before. Many of them known how to win things before, and they went out there and they were brilliant. And as evident by Ferguson's comments, by saying, I was going to make more changes for this game. And the moment City lost, I felt it was time to play 3 or 4 more players that I wouldn't have normally played. So I thought they were great. Everton had a few things in there, but ultimately they were well worthy of the 2-0 lead at half-time. Jones was really good on Fellaini, and I thought that made a big difference.
Yeah, Jones was good, wasn't he? Until he limped off, of course, in the second half. Giggs scores again. I think it's like 46 straight seasons he's scored
I think
now.
it is, yeah.
Pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, amazing.
Is he the greatest United player ever? Greatest. Now, I know last night on the other show I'm on, you said, is he the best ever, right? And he got a ton of debate, actually.
Right.
I think best and greatest are two different things.
Okay, maybe
best being most talented, ability, and it's tough to say he's better than George Best, for example.
Right.
Cantona.
Right.
Ronaldo even. But greatest player. Longevity for me counts a lot. Titles. He might be the greatest player to play for United.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe let us know what you think out there. Hashtag Footy Chat. I smell a segment on the TV show maybe this week, and we'll do something on Thursday. But obviously it's a fine record. 21 straight seasons to score in the Premier League. No one's ever done that. 23 straight.
Plus 2 first divisions.
Yeah, we should remember it's 23 actually. Football did play before 1992.
Honest,
contrary to what some people think. And he hasn't had that many opportunities to score goals this year either, and it wasn't an easy goal.
No, it wasn't.
So
well played.
it was. So, although Van Persie destroyed Heitinga in the build-up to it, and poor Johnny Heitinga's had a rough couple of weeks, shouldn't have even been playing if Sylvain Distin was healthy, but he wasn't. So, he might be. He's up there in the discussion. I'll leave it at that for now, and maybe I'll talk more about it on Thursday.
So RVP starts, as does Rooney. They could both going to start, do you think, on the Champions League? We'll discuss it in the TV show a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to get the Formation Geek board out, so make sure you watch the Footy Show later today on Monday with this. I think this is a fascinating topic for me about this, because it's all about Van Persie's playing, and he's starting up top, and he's the marksman, and he's the target man, and that's done. It's all about Rooney. Where does he play if he plays? And of course, most people say, why wouldn't you play them? It's the midfield battle. You cannot afford to not play 3-man midfield in major Champions League matches. And if he plays, and people say, oh, he can play there, he's played there before, he must do it better than he's ever done it before. He's shown signs of it, but if he plays in that role, he must be better than he's ever done. And I don't know whether he can do that. So, do I think they'll play? I think he might play, and I think he might actually play on the left, and maybe they'll play somebody else in that central position. The one thing I keep coming back to, and I'll talk about this on the TV show, is Toni Kroos. The reason why Bayern Munich were able to nullify Real Madrid last year in the semi-final of Champions League was because Kroos played that role to a T. Absolutely perfect. And defensively, he's got a lot better strength than Rooney. So we'll find out. We'll find out whether they'll play, but we'll get into it more later on the TV show.
They both have like 2 O's in their names. Kroos and
That's true.
Rooney.
That's true.
Right,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of comparisons that we can make.
There you go.
That's my tactical observation. Chelsea beat Wigan 4-1. Lampard scores again.
Mr. Lampard.
Mr. Lampard, speaking of old
198.
guys, 198. 4 away. 4 away from the club record.
Yes.
Give the guy credit, right?
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on, let's give him credit.
For
You know,
sure.
he's one of the greats in Premier League history,
No doubt.
right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Would you sign him for another year at Chelsea?
You know what? I've said this from the beginning, and I'll remain consistent. I don't know what he wants. I don't know what he wants, and I don't. The people who are, let me say this: the people who are in charge of making this decision, one, know what he wants, and two, know for a fact what kind of personality he is. Everybody else can write and say whatever they want. They don't know. They don't. You know, is he the kind of personality that will accept a pay cut? A dramatic pay cut of that to accept a smaller role, and is he the kind of personality that will say, okay, I will not play as many games as I've done next season? Because let's be honest, Chelsea have got some serious problems going forward. If Frank Lampard's playing 25 Premier League games for them next season, are they winning the title? No.
Why though? Why?
Because he's not good enough.
He's got double-digit goals. How many midfielders have that this season?
Okay, but we're judging him on goals, and it's more than just goals. He's scored 11 Premier League goals this season, right? Okay, but how many of those goals have won matches? Not many. You know, he's a liability away from home, as evident in the Newcastle game when you're playing in midfield too. So you cannot play. Andre Villas-Boas tried to do this 18 months ago. He knew when he went in there that if Frank Lampard's playing the amount of games he's been playing the last few years, I ain't going to win a Premier League title. You know what he did? He sat him down more than most, and Lampard sulked. He moaned, and every time he could get in front of a microphone, he would have a little dig. And everybody, all his mates in that dressing room, eventually went with Lampard, and Villas-Boas was fired out. Di Matteo tried to do it, and because he got success, everybody said that's okay. But the moment he's gone, now Lampard's getting more games because Mikel's at the African Cup of Nations, and Romeo was injured. So I don't think if you're a Premier League team who wants to win the title, Frank Lampard would play 25 games a season. That's the thing that I would say. So it's a long-winded answer to say, would you take a lower pay raise so he can get better players in, and are you willing to accept a smaller role? If he is, then do it. But if he's not, which I don't know if he is, then don't.
Okay, but who's had a better season than Lampard in that team? Okay, Mata, obviously. Well, he's been outstanding.
Right.
Hazard hasn't.
Yeah.
Too inconsistent.
No, he's had a better season than Lampard.
You think so?
He's made
I
a
think
bigger
it's
difference in matches than Lampard has.
I think we're blinded by that first month of the season. I think he's dropped off. He may have bounced back a bit of late, but there was a big black hole in that season of his where he didn't do very much. And he's attacking ball boys, which doesn't happen either. Mikel, you said before, hasn't really had a great chance this season, right?
Right, but you're evaluating the past, and you've got to look into the future. And I don't necessarily think by looking at what's happened in the immediate past will dictate what happens in the future.
Short-term future. I mean, I'm not saying give the guy a 3-year deal, but I mean, money isn't that important to Chelsea. We know that. Give him another year at least, I say. But you're right. I mean, a big part of it too is what is the plan going forward, rebuilding this team, and can his ego take it? And
right.
I mean, when I look at that clique at Chelsea, the John Terry, Frank Lampard, Peter Cech, the Drogba, I mean, like you said, no one knows Nissi actually in that scene, but I think he might be the least cancerous, onerous amongst that group.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed like I get that impression from Lampard.
Yeah,
a bit
maybe.
more of a team player.
Maybe, but I mean, he ultimately is. He is. If you walk in that dressing room, he is on Terry's side. You know, I've never heard him say one bad word about John Terry.
But he's a great leader of men, as John Terry. So how could you ever turn against him?
That's what I mean. You are sometimes known for the company that you keep, whether that's right or not.
What does that say about you?
Whether that's right or not, I'm just saying. I get the point, and obviously I'm in a very, very, very small minority here. But I just, okay, yeah, he's had a great year, but it's fantastic when he's banging goals in against Norwich and making it 3-1 against Wigan and 3-0 against Stoke and 7-0 against Villa, whatever it was. I mean, the stats are there, and he's scored goals, and it's the hardest thing to do. But I just think ultimately it comes down to personality and what he's willing to accept going forward, and we'll find out. All
right, Spurs beat Newcastle 2-1. Gareth Bale with the brace, and one of which was a great free kick, albeit through a dreadful wall, but I'll take the free kick there. It's well played.
Yeah.
And then, of course, second goal was vintage Bale, just nothing but pace.
Incredible,
yeah. Superb goal. We've been talking about this guy, and is he going to be in that upper echelon class? Is he there now, do you think?
I think he is. I think, obviously, he's still got a lot of things to work on in his game, particularly off the ball, but I've said it before, when you've got that amount of pace and you're so good with the ball, it's very difficult to defend against. There's a lot of people in this game who've been blessed with pace but didn't know what to do with it, and a lot of people in this game who've been blessed with pace, and the moment they receive the ball, slow down.
Dries Vessel.
There you go. Lots of people. But Bale speeds up when he's got the ball. He gets quicker, and that's a real great trait for me. And now he's added the element of scoring goals to his game, and that is a beautiful element. You know, the breaking forward, out sprinting the defenders, coming in on a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and you know he's going to score. You know he's going to score. So of course that means that Villas-Boas can move in more central role, which he did in the second half, which made a big difference. He's tactically very versatile. So yeah, I think he's definitely up there. Look, I saw a piece on Sky Sports by Jeff Stelling, I believe it was, who said that he's better than Ronaldo. Which is ridiculous.
That's ludicrous.
So here comes the hyperbole, or the hyper Bale, as we call it.
Nice. I like that.
But is he
yours?
No, I've seen a few people say it. I'm not going to take credit for it.
Take it as yours.
But is he better than Ronaldo? Of course, he's not even in the same league. But he's getting to the point of world-class status for sure. And I think that, as you know, Tottenham can enjoy this while they have him, because he can help them get to the Champions League again, which they deserve to be in.
When I say that the highest echelon, that is where Bale should be right now. Above the highest echelon are Ronaldo and Messi, are like floating, walking on the air right now, and that's a little bit different, I think.
Absolutely.
But, let's not, man. I know we all have to, vamp up players, when perhaps not quite ready for it, and to say he's at the level of Ronaldo at this point, give me a break.
No,
Jesus Christ.
I will say this. 2 years ago, people can go back and listen if they really can find it. I think I was very, very critical when he got Player of the Year. I think it was a ridiculous choice. If you remember that year, he had
Should
a really
be Ryan
good...
Giggs, right?
That year was awful too. If you remember, he had a really good 4 months, and they did nothing for the last 5 months of that season. And this year, now he's growing. It just shows you how mature he's come in 2 years. He's a far better player than he was 2 years ago, but he won't win Player of the Year because there's other players out there called Van Persie and Mata.
That's right. Villas-Boas is actually younger than Bale as well, which is amazing for a manager. One loss in 14 games of Spurs. Is Villas-Boas... He was repairing his reputation. Has it been repaired? Are you prepared to say that at this point, or has he still got a bit to prove this campaign?
Look, he'll never have anything to prove to me. I think there'll always be people out there. He could win a Premier League title with Tottenham, and I think there'll always be people out there who won't like Villas-Boas. There's this clique in the footballing media world who don't like him because he never played the game at a high level. So that's one thing you'll always have against him. And there's this other people who don't like him because they think that he's got far too much to say, and he comes with his fancy words in his notebook and everything. So look, I think he'll always have people he has to prove to, but I don't think he needs to care about that. I think he's done a phenomenal job. There's been a transitional year at Tottenham. I think they've lost some significant players there, and he's going forward. Look, it was the kind of game that could have gone both ways. Newcastle really attacked them really well in the second half, and they had the chances here. But when you've got a special talent like Bale who can make a difference, then he's done it. So I like Villas-Boas, and I think that he can really lead this team to the Champions League, and I think that that's a real success at this point.
I have this cold right now, but the best part of the cold is that I can really sound like Villas-Boas.
He dropped I think he dropped the word tranquility in his post. Yeah, I've never heard a Premier League manager say that before.
Did it start with a
yes, I think
and end with a tranquility? Yes. The best thing about these new breed of foreign managers is the voices, eh? Great voices right
for
now.
Sure.
We lose McCarthy.
Yeah.
Right, and that's a crime.
Yeah.
But we gain a Villas-Boas.
We do.
And a Martin Jol.
Jol's
right?
Jol's
really good.
Poet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just great. Love him.
I was thinking this weekend, Big Sam. You know Roy Cropper in Coronation Street, right?
Yeah.
Imagine Roy Cropper, evil and on steroids. Sam Allardyce. That's right. Totally. Because there's a shot of Sam on the weekend, and the rain was pissing down. His hair was over his face.
Yeah.
It was Roy Cropper. Who's Haley though? I don't think Sam's married to a transsexual.
No.
I don't think.
Do people know that still? Because I haven't watched Corrie for 5 years.
It's I remember beneath. It's been brushed under the carpet.
I was talking to somebody who'd recently watched Corrie. I can't remember who it was, and I was like, "You know that Haley's not a girl, right?" They're like, "What?"
I know.
Didn't even know.
Well, Tracy Barlow still occasionally, when she's feeling really bitchy, she'll call Haley a freak.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's kind of brought it that way occasionally, sadly. But
actually, I think that's been nice for Tracy Barlow. You know that in real life, like if and there's a lot of real life Tracy Barlows. There's no way she'd call it a freak.
Oh no.
She'd call it something a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's no ends to Tracy Barlow's level, is there? I mean, she faked a pregnancy from Roy Cropper.
Yes, that's right.
Remember that?
I do.
It almost broke up Roy and Haley.
It did. Yeah.
Awful. Man, we should get paid by Coronation Street. We're going to totally get some new viewers after these storylines, huh?
I need to get back into this show.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen it for a couple of weeks.
I'm not
way out
surprised,
there.
man. You're always working
too much. I know. The wife's watching it though. She's filling me in,
There
but
you go.
I feel like it'll take me a week to get back into it.
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
but,
We'll just watch one show, you'll be back right into it.
yeah, pretty much.
I'm sure I will after 5 years. That's the beauty of soaps. You dying there, mate?
There goes the Vish Bose. It's gone now.
Oh, there you go.
That Luger in the back of my throat was giving me the Vish Bose, but now it's gone. Where are we?
I'm sure you just woke up a few people who fell asleep listening to our podcast.
I know. I'm not going more than that about that bloody Coronation Street again. Jesus. Now wake up! Hey! Wake up!
Don't fall asleep.
Sunderland Arsenal 1-0. 3 red cards in the campaign for Arsenal. Man, the new hard men of
The louts.
football, absolute louts. Arsene Wenger should be, I think, vilified by the media
Yeah.
for the type of football he's preaching now, don't you? Jenkinson.
Bad day for Jenky. I mean, no doubt. I mean, he wasn't even supposed to start the game. Then Koscielny pulls up in the warm-up with a calf injury. Like, okay, what are we going to do here? Sanya pushed the centre back. Played great. Best performance of the season. And then Jenky gets the start, and 62 minutes later, he's back in the dressing room because he's got sent off. So, not an ideal game for him. But I thought Arsenal showed something they haven't shown for a while here, particularly in the last 20 minutes, a real desire to close out the game. You know, Szczesny helped. I thought that he had one of his best performances.
Great,
really good.
Late.
And he hasn't been great, I don't think. He's been inconsistent this season, but I thought that that character, that team, and you have to remember who wasn't playing at that point. Wilshere, who got taken off after 50 minutes because he got kicked. You have to remember who the leaders were there. You know, without Koscielny, obviously, was out there as well. So, interesting.
Wait. You're not calling Koscielny a leader,
No, I'm not. But I mean, you're looking at that team and you're like, okay, well, who are the leaders? I think Koscielny is an underrated leader. But obviously, Mertesacker was there, Arteta was still there, and of course, Santi as well, and who scored the key goal. So, yeah, I thought it was a big game for them. They came away with a big victory, and now, you know, they're still hot on the heels of Spurs. And
It's 4 points still, right?
Yeah, but, you know, they've still got a chance. You know, I think they play them in a couple of weeks. So, actually, it's 2 more games to go. It's not in a couple of weeks because there's a gap now.
FA
But
Cup, right.
they've got Tottenham away, I think, in the weekend of the 2nd of March.
Well, Wenger says they can't afford to drop any more points to catch Spurs, which isn't technically true, of course.
They
But
could definitely afford to
still
drop points.
12 games left.
Yeah, I mean, Tottenham are not going to win every game.
Did you hear Senya's post-match comments?
No.
Because obviously he plays centre back, as you
Yeah.
mentioned. And he goes, the fact that he can now duplicate his hero, Marvel Wynn, and play centre back from right back and play it well.
Amazing.
It's really reached the bar
Yes.
as far as what he set himself many years ago. He's got a Marvel Wynn tattoo in his arm.
Oh, he does?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
There you go.
Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
Talking about players who can run really fast but then get the ball and slow down. It's a common theme today.
I think Mo Johnston once called Marvel Wynn the greatest defender he'd ever seen.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Nothing against Marvel Wynn, by the way.
No.
Marvel Wynn.
It's just he's done very well as
Done very well for himself.
adequate MLS professional.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's talk about some Aston Villa, shall we?
Okay.
And do that?
Why not?
Because they won the bloody game.
They did win.
Despite, dreadful miss early on by
Andy
Vyman, and West Ham get a late goal. I think, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
But then I checked West Ham's away record and thought, okay, they might be okay here.
Right.
But still, I know you were crapping yourself when you saw that happen.
Yes. Quick story. Watched the game through till the 85th minute. Left it at 2-0. And PVR'd the rest. But I was like, 2-0. Game's over. And then had to go out and do some stuff. So came back in and then turned it on. And like within 30 seconds, West Ham scored.
No.
I'm like, what? And the wife's like, how bad are they? What's going on? I'm like, and then like, I'm just so nervous watching that last 5 minutes.
I'll be honest with you, I left it at 0-0.
Did you?
In the second half.
The first half was terrible.
It was such a horrendous 45 minutes of football.
It was terrible.
It was disgusting. I thought, this isn't even professional quality football.
It was bad.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It was direct, and it was just like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, but they pulled it out, and they needed it. Boy, did they ever need it. And, as you mentioned it, West Ham, with their such a poor away record, for a team like Villa at home, you need to win those games. It's far from over. They've got a long way to go. They've got Arsenal away and Man City at home next, so it's going to be big trouble. But they're out the bottom 3 for now, and something to build on for sure. And I think this too, Charles Ndogbe, I've given him a lot of criticism, and he's been terrible, absolutely terrible. Probably one of the worst signings in the history of the club, and that's saying a lot. This team has made a lot of bad signings down the years. Bosco Balaban, but the last 5-6 games, I've noticed a big improvement and a desire. So that's something that you can only ask for and hope that you continue to get throughout the rest of the season, because talent-wise, he deserves the place in this side, because there's not a lot of talent there.
Bosco Balaban or Milan Barros?
There's another one.
Who's worse?
Balaban. No doubt.
Is he still worse than Zogbia? You think he's worse than Zogbia?
Probably. Yeah.
How much did he cost, Balaban?
I think it was only 5 million, but he was absolutely horrendous. Yeah.
There's been a lot of bad players at Villa as
There's been a lot of bad players, and that actually probably deserves an article one day. Maybe I'll be the one who writes it. But there's a lot of reasons why Villa are so timid in going into the overseas transfer market. It's because they've just been burned every time they've gone there. Whoever was scouting for them down the years has just...
Who was there, the European
players.
scout?
Goodness knows.
Bosco Balaban?
Terrible. Yeah, who knows what. Even Milosevic, I mean, he was horrendous, let's be honest. I mean, he had a nice goal in the Carling Cup final in '96, but an absolutely horrendous signing.
All right, Swansea beat QPR 4-1, back down to earth for QPR. I know Cesar was hurt and probably shouldn't have even played in that game, but he was pretty brutal.
He wasn't good.
Michu scored
with the rebounds.
First goal in 580 minutes. He's back. In fact, 3 Spanish players scored for the same team, right? And that's the first time it's happened, I believe, in the Premier League.
That's right. So, look, Queen's Park Rangers were awful. Absolutely awful. And I think that defensively, they came back to earth. I mean, they may well have been down back to earth already before they even started the game as a team, but defensively they were. We talked about it for quite a while on this podcast about how defensively they've been improving. They definitely were working better as a system. Only conceded 1 goal in the previous 5 matches in 2012 and 2013, and then to just give up 4. I always thought that Swansea would cause them problems just because they're a very intelligent team who use the ball really well and move into space, something that Queen's Park Rangers really, really struggle with defending against, but there's no excuses for the goals, really. The first goal, Dyer got in behind in the channels. Great ball, great shot. Should have been saved better than Cesar. Routledge again behind the channels to put the ball into Rangel. And after that, I mean, okay, Zamora scores the goal, but the 3-1. I mean, once you come back out at half time and Zamora gets you the goal, you think, okay, they're in it. But just to give up a goal like Pablo just walked through them in that box. Just got nothing to say about it, really. It's just a defensive nightmare. So, they're in massive trouble. I don't know. Are you willing to say they're down?
Not yet, but no. I'm very close.
They're close.
Very close to that, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're close as well. I think...
It depends. I mean, like you said, like Villa probably going to lose the next 2 games, right? If QPR get a couple of results. I mean, that's why it's so hard to say.
Yeah, it is.
It's 12 games is still a little bit far out, I think, apart from when we're crowning a champion, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I think that Man United, we can all... Man United need to get 25 points out of their last 12 games, and to get to 90, a total that Manchester City can't get to. And I think Man United are going to get those 25 points.
Enough about United. We've still got to talk about Stoke, Reading, Norwich and Fulham.
Oh.
And I know the listeners are dying for us to talk about these 2 games.
We shouldn't even give a word about that second game.
Norwich, let's not then. Okay,
no.
Bye.
Terrible.
Sorry, Martin, yo.
Yeah.
Stoke 2, Reading 1. Speaking of, I mean, there's goals in this game, right? But there's one stat which was kind of just screams to me about these teams. 107 aerial deals is 34 more than any other game this season.
Is that right?
I think it may have been direct.
Yes.
Quite possibly.
Fantastic stat. I think the big talking point out of this is a couple of things. Obviously, Stoke got the victory. The question or penalty call in the 94th minute, the very, very end on Lafondra. Ryan shot and put his foot out, and Lafondra went down a little bit easy. Many people think it's a penalty from what I've read. I think if I was the ref, I probably wouldn't have given it, but I tend to lean on that side a lot more than most. But most people thought it was a penalty, and at that point, Lafondra would have stepped up. He doesn't miss penalties, and got a 2-2 draw. So I think Reading felt a little bit aggrieved with that. The other thing is what I noticed, the horrendous tackle by Glenn Whelan on Mikel Lidgertwood. I don't know what he was thinking. He got mad at about 5 seconds before, and he was lunged in again. Something he did against Manchester City a couple of weeks ago and Javi Garcia. This guy is just getting away with murder right now. I think we very, very need to keep an eye on him. But ultimately, Jerome scored a really nice goal to win it for Stoke. Kind of went the way we thought, and Reading, they haven't played that well in the first hour of games, and that cost them in this game because ultimately the last half an hour of the game they got outscored this time. So interesting to see where they go forward, but they're still in it. There's no doubt about it. But they got a big game next against Wigan at home.
Any word on Gouffran, Newcastle, and his injury? I know it didn't look too bad.
Didn't look that bad,
did it? Cut off, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything today, but I think he went to hospital after the game, Pardew confirmed. So
it better be broken.
Gash, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a gash, yeah. It better be broken.
It wasn't like Rooney's shark bite.
Nothing like it, no, not bad. I mean, if you went out for a gash or even a bruise, come on, man, get up.
He had the oxygen.
Yeah, I know.
Never looked good. I was hoping he'd give it Phil Dowd. because Phil
Oh, 'cause
Dowd
he's so fat.
needed it
'Cause he's knackered
he
running around.
Like, honestly, I've never seen a more unfit referee in a Premier League. Like, I don't want to
good
pick
point,
on.
actually,
I don't
I
want to
think.
pick on the guy. Like, I'm certainly not in a position to pick on someone's health, but that's your job. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Like, he just couldn't keep up with play. Like, he looked almost as unfit as Gareth Barry.
Is it Barry's unfit?
Yeah,
Really?
I think he is.
How? How is that possible?
Well, I don't necessarily think he's on. Maybe he is fit.
You know what?
He's
I know
just
why.
slow.
It's the chicken balti pies at the Etihad. They're amazing. They are. They're so good.
I'll say this: I watched it again and again and again. That own goal from Barry, it was down to fatigue. He missed his man. He sprinted as fast as he can go, which is basically like running in mud, for like 40 yards. And he was so knackered that when he got the ball, his mind had shut off. Like there was a moment in the game on yesterday with the Man United game when Michael Carrick had just come on. The same thing happened to him, and he sprinted a lot quicker and took the ball away from Leon Osman right at the edge. And I thought exactly because Carrick had pace, Barry wouldn't have got near him, and he sprinted so much, he got the ball. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do next. Oh, he just kicked it in the corner.
Right. Just absolutely knackered.
Because he was knackered.
Just knackered.
Lost his man. So, yeah. I mean, don't want to pick on a guy, but come on.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You hate Gareth Barry.
I don't actually hate
You
Gareth
do hate
Barry.
Gareth Barry.
No, I don't
I remember
hate
the day he signed with City, and you look in your face.
Well,
That was the moment that Villa began going downhill.
Well, yeah.
It was. Think about it.
Not really. I think they did okay after him for a while. But you're right. I
It
wasn't
was
very happy with him
the
choosing.
slippery slope had
He went
started.
there for money, and he didn't say it. He said he went there for
Ambition.
but they did nothing until he went there.
Won a
so.
championship.
He's done it. Oh, he's done all right out of it now. But
Do you think a new manager and he's going to be on the outs or see his playing time limited?
he better be.
If that's what their ambitions are.
Look,
to win
Manchester
Champions
City
League.
has spent all this money, and you want to win the Premier League, you want to win the Champions League, you got Gareth Barry playing in midfield? Come on.
Hates him so much.
No, I don't hate him.
No, you do.
I interviewed him once, lovely fella, but I don't hate him. But I just think as a player, he's average at best. And if you want to win Premier League titles, you should be having internationals at every position. Is he really an England international?
I'd love to see you interview him now. Be great. I'm joined now by fucking Gareth Barry. So, Gareth, think you're international quality, do you?
Take me back to that moment Man City called.
How did that phone call go?
Yeah.
Did you think about the Villa fans who had supported you for years, and you were leading that team to some pretty special heights?
Look, I know
You
what
didn't, did you?
I know what it's like for footballers. They don't care about loyalty to the clubs.
No.
And that's fine. That's where they are. But he went there for the money. Just say. That's
By the way, I should clarify, I don't really want Gouffre to have a broken leg. I'm just saying that to have oxygen and to be carried off like that, it better be serious.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's right.
Otherwise, suck it up and get back out there.
Or just walk off.
Or just walk off, limp off.
Yeah, limp
right?
off. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Exactly. Yeah.
wait for the hate now from Newcastle fans saying, it was terrible. Did you see that foul?
Yeah.
Remember the old, the big one when Carragher fouled a Nani?
Oh,
Remember that one?
Yeah, that's
and
right.
he was crying on the field.
Yeah, it's rolling
and
all over
I
the place.
criticised him, and the hate I got, people saying, he probably broke his leg. He played the next game.
Yeah, of course he did.
People.
Yeah, Nani falling off a cliff, eh?
God, what happened to him, eh? What happened to him?
Terrible.
Ugh. All right,
Yeah.
well, we're out of time.
are.
Today's obviously Liverpool against West Brom. No point talking about that. Hasn't happened yet.
No, that's true.
But we're back tomorrow for a podcast. Champions League back in action this week.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Exciting
does it?
stuff and great
Yes.
games.
Big preview. We'll have over 50-minute preview today on the Footy Show of all 4 games.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Gage.
Cheers.
Bye.